suggesting not in a way that has anything to do with pain or blood. Yeah, I think so.
I love it. No, man, but any final thoughts about this fight before we get out of here?
Final thoughts about the fight. I think I'm amazed that something that I couldn't imagine being convincing on paper made it to screen like this. But when it made it to screen, it worked. I can't imagine how this could have been pitched in a way that people thought that sounds great. Mm-hmm. I think if anything, people thought that sounds inexpensive.
Yeah.
So go ahead. But they took something that was maybe inexpensive. I don't know the logistics, and that probably didn't sound convincingly awesome. And it was, I can't stress this enough. It was tense. The whole movie's tense, but it was tense. It's a monster throwing appliances at someone in a pool, which sounds laughable, but it was tense. So it worked, man. It was cool. And when it ended, I had just a completely silent shock.
Nice.
To me. And I didn't feel like waving my hands in the air in victory. I didn't laugh. I was just quietly sitting there on my couch until we move on to a next scene where we ominously wonder whether or not they really won.
I love it how
it's very effective. It's very effective. That's all I was going to say.
Yeah, I like how they build it wordlessly. They don't ever say this, so we're going to do this. You just watch and you understand. They set it up. He gives you enough shots to let you know what they're doing without saying it. It offers some surprises, some memorable visuals, and I don't know, man. I just think that these kids stuck together. Like and also these kids didn't do anything wrong. Like these kids did nothing wrong, and I think that works for me a lot in horror movies when the lead characters didn't get something by being stupid. Right. Does that make sense? I like that they decided to do this. They decided to be proactive. The cops wouldn't believe them. I mean, that would just be weird. They tried it. They tried. And I like how they wordlessly explained the scene. They showed it. They didn't tell it. And I just dig that these kids tried. And
you mentioned they didn't do anything wrong. Even the date with the guy who gave it to her, we even knew in the beginning it wasn't their first date. She had dated him before. She really liked him. Like the Scooby Gang people, boy, we got to get them in a room, Mark. Like, we got to get them in a room because this really was one of the most plausible groups of kids in a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, period, the end. They were ultra plausible.
Yeah, dude, the kid Jay was such a puppy dog around. I'm sorry, Paul was such a puppy dog around Jay. And he acted like a 16-year-old kid who loves a 19-year-old or something. You know what I mean? Like, it was just nice, feral 80s kids in the 2000s with weird e-readers. But no, thank you for joining me, man. This was a lot of fun. I'm glad we did this. All right, cool. So for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, and for John Levengood, this is Final Fights. We'll see you next week.